How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Sold Out Flesh and Blood. This is, I'm Loomis. This is my show. Anyways, just wanted to talk to you guys about today, um, kind of the theme for this video. I'm going to write it down right now so I don't forget it. It's called The Calm Before the Storm. That's what it's all about. It's about feeling like the storm is coming, and in a lot of ways, literally, that's what I'm experiencing in my life. I got to make all these videos. I bought all this stuff, and I'm getting ready to do it. That's cool. Calm before the storm. Bigger picture, flesh and blood. Is it the calm before the storm? Are we still in that period where nobody knows how big this stuff is going to be? How important is it really going to be? And that's what we want to believe. That's what we believe on this channel. That's what we come here. That's the hopes and dreams. And here's the thing, and that's what I'm saying. The way 2020 is cooking the pot. Everybody is going to want to come out and be at these big events. And that's how I think Flesh and Blood is going to survive, because it's one of those things. And that's what the creators seem to believe is like, we're just trying to get people to come together. And right now, it's not an option. But it's not going to be like that forever. Things are going to go back to normal. And it's going to be a window of opportunity. Now, if things don't go back to normal, that sucks anyway. Like, I can't even prepare for that. There's nothing any of us can do to prepare for things just not going back to normal. So that's why I like the idea of Flesh and Blood and making this YouTube channel while things are the way they are, and just getting it done, trying to make some progress, trying to prepare for when things go back to normal. And it's a massive change in the way things are going to be happening. Absolutely it is. And that's what we can come to expect. Like, I want to see these big festivals again, these big expos, tournaments, convention, concert. It's coming. It's coming, everybody. They can't hold us. They can't hold us down for so long. We understand that. Like, it's just a difficult situation, and we have to do what's best for all of humanity. But we don't want to put ourselves in a box and just act like, oh, it's never going to go back to the way it was. Everything new world order. That's going to be the case if we're not careful. If we give up hope. That's why I'm here to tell you that we can't give up hope. We got to actually make it through to the other side of this thing. So it's not too much to talk about today. I haven't still gotten any new cards. All I have, these are the only cards I have. It's about to change, but that's why I say it's the calm before the storm, because everything is changing quickly. One thing I wanted to talk about today is the lore in Flesh and Blood, and just furthermore, what is that going to mean? Out of the other big 3 card games, Magic has the least lore, ironically. Not the least lore, but people care the least about the lore, and people love the lore in Magic, but I think Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Take the cake because they have the animes and a lot more video game support, and people, they know the characters who play the card game. The whole thing is different. It's bigger, Flesh and Blood, like, it's gonna fall more in suit with Magic. I feel like where the lore is never gonna be the focus. It's always gonna be the game. But now here's where they got a leg up is they have these heroes, Dorinthia, etc. This is the only one I know because it's the only one I have right now. It's not really, I know. What's important is that these heroes have personality that like you can feel by the way that they play out their games, and either they're going to be beloved characters that we all really know, like and I brought something out today. Super Smash Bros. One of the most competitive game you could ever ask for. Beautiful game. My favorite version, of course, is Melee. That's the one that came from when I was growing up and everything. But this game changes the way, fighting games competitively are played. And that's what I'm saying, again, with the production value on the tournaments. If you had the maximum production value on the Smash Bros. Tournament, the Melee back in the day, or even on this one, really that player tiers and matchups, high stakes, odds, that's what it really comes down to, is the point where you have the odds on the match and people are betting and they want to know who's going to win. That's what we got to set up for Flesh and Blood, That's how I want to see $1 million tournament, winners taking the winning team, because now you have maybe like 16 teams of 2 people each, and they're going through drafting versus each other, such that there's never a mirror match. That's what I was thinking. Maybe a reason that the game could be more balanced is if you avoid having those mirror matches, because it'll restrict the meta from just going down one stream. People will be forced to play different heroes because, okay, you can ban this one and then pick this one, and now you're forcing somebody into their third tier, and now you're blocking out what the other guy can pick. So if it's a 2v2, and then, it could be a pretty multi-layered type of event. The production value is good, the commentary, the analyst, the host, everything is on set, camera work. That's what we're trying to move towards. That's what we want to create, and have it, 24/7, like have it go on like the way the Dota tournaments go on. And just step it up with the competitive card game, because this is what people want to see, the 2 players. And that's what I mean. I don't care if it's like the best players. I want to see the players with, like, not only are we in a tier of high players, like there's lots of people taking the game seriously who have real collections, because that's going to be the thing. The pro players need to have high tier collections, $10,000-$20,000 collections that they're entering these tournaments with, in order to win. It's going to be the way Flesh and Blood is going to go, because these fabled cards are going to be expensive. Always. The first edition box is going to come out, and I believe no matter what, that fabled card is going to hold at $5,000, because you only get a couple of them in a whole palette, it seems like. I don't know. Maybe 2,500. That's what I would say is a real safe bet. Like that fabled first edition cold foil of whatever gem or little stone it is. it's gonna hold value right out the gate. If you get one of those, it's a golden ticket. I don't see it's so easy for them to make them useful in the game, and then the pro players are gonna want them. To have that versatility and that unpredictability in your deck with these cards where and that's what the viewers want to see. They want to see these people slamming down $5,500 cards onto the table and duking it out. And that's what's going to make it exciting, is because all these players have the money on the line up front. And I know everybody's thinking, where's the prize pool going to come from? Where's the prize pool going to come from? That's the thing. Each tournament organizer needs to raise their own prize pool individually, and then convince sell the advertising space on the thing and make back the prize pool money. So on and so forth. Work in, the charity events work out a lot of times. The big production, you need a lot of money to really do this thing. Pay your host, pay your analysts, pay everything. It's crazy. And that's, how is Flesh and Blood going to get on that level? Because if it doesn't crack into the mainstream like that, it's not going to make it. It's never going to be the big three. It's never going to have the lore that these cards, that the Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards have. It's going to fade away. But and it's crazy, because here's one of the cards that I really want, the TEKLO Foundry Heart. And we're looking at the card and we're thinking, like, wow, not only is it beautiful, powerful, good card, but it's just universally, you can appreciate it. You look at that artwork. If this thing is in a hard case, PSA graded or BGS or otherwise, and it doesn't matter if you've ever played Flesh and Blood before. If you're an investor, or you're just a collector in general, you're going to see this card in its cold foil version, and you're going to recognize immediately that it's got some value to it. You can tell just by looking at it, just the quality of the artwork, the foil, the cards. You'll know that it's got some value to it, and that's we're off to such a good start when you look at Flesh and Blood. Like, the prices are so impressive, all throughout the market, just to the point where it seems like, wow, is this some kind of Ponzi scheme? Like, anybody who's trying to buy Flesh and Blood cards now, like, it's going to go down the drain. There's no reason. These cards are, but it blows your mind. It makes you think, and that's the next point that I have on the list, is just, you got to be scared. You got to be outside of your comfort zone. You got to be fearful, because otherwise, like, there's not going to be room for the masses to move in. So, like, if you're just, staying within, sitting on your couch saying, oh, I hope Flesh and Blood does well, cool, that's great. But that's why, I had to step out here in front of the camera, even though I've never been in front of camera. I don't like it. I don't want to hear my own voice. I don't want to watch my videos and everything, but I'm here to tell you guys, like, about this game and what I think it's worth, or what I think it's going to become, because it's really caught my attention. And I know that I have a good eye for drowning out a lot of the white noise. Look at the sunlight coming in through the window right now while we're talking about Flesh and Blood. This is a good sign, everybody. We're going to have to readjust the focus. Now it's a little less washed out. Kind of got a shadow going on. Still a lot of sunlight. That's pretty good. So, the next point that I have written down, besides the fact that you need to be scared and you need to be afraid and you need to admit that and you need to move forward, And that's how, the first of us are going to start playing this game and start showing it around and start telling other people to play it and get a couple decks ready and just try and play the game. It's, to me, it's like this game. It's like this game where, oh, you want to play a game? Sure, here we go. Let's play Flesh and Blood. Like, let's get on the table and play it. You don't need a $200 console. Or what? I mean, that's an understatement right now. If you wanted to set up to play Super Smash Brothers with somebody and you had nothing right now, you would need TV, Switch, and 2 controllers, 2 pretty decent ones, because I get frustrated when I'm playing on a bad controller. I mean, now we're being picky, but the point is you can get Flesh and Blood and say you each spend $100 and build a decent little deck or whatever. And that's like that's the problem with getting started is like it's just difficult, and that's why I believe that the teams, like, so inevitably I'm going to start pro Flesh and Blood team, two-man team. Our team sells out repack decks. If we can get to this level, team buys a pallet, invests in it, pulls out the cold foil, takes other cards, repacks the decks for each hero, tier 1 deck, tier 2 deck, tier 3 deck, just makes the best deck, sells them out. Let people get the tier 3 decks for like $5 and just let them fly, send them out to summer camps and things, and like get people playing the game so that we're building up for the future, so 10 years down the line we can have these high value production tournaments where it could just be ruthless. It could be absolutely ruthless. I think about like the high stakes poker tournaments that you see, ESPN and everything. That's the kind of thing I picture for Flesh and Blood. Like the point where there's so many people who are good at the game and so many people that love the game that you are putting people that are amazing at the game, and they have crazy personalities and style, and the way they look on camera is captivating. That's what we need to get to. Not just have a pro scene, but actually have a really mainstream looking, like, captivating pro scene. I don't know. I'm just rambling around. It's only been 17 and a half minutes, 17 minutes, 50 seconds or so. A lot of these notes that I write, and I think I already touched on this a lot, but it's just really interesting, the cards, how you've got red card, yellow card, and blue card. And I just think about it a lot, like the future printing. It's going to be interesting. Like, do you think we're ever going to get different cards, different colors? These are the primary colors, so of course it's what they're going to start with. And I mentioned it in one of the other videos, I remember this, I was like, maybe they're going to print the things where they have a different artwork for each one, And that would be pretty cool. But now what I'm also realizing is, like, if they print, are they ever going to print a cycle at a majestic rarity? So, like, what I see a lot is that, the legendary rarity seems to be reserved for equipment like my TEKLO Foundry Heart, but at the majestic rarity, sometimes you see these action cards and everything. Will there ever be a chance where there's a cycle at the majestic rarity? And if so, how are we going to determine the value? And that's why, like, I envision sort of a tertiary market where the teams are buying the pallets and then they're selling the repacks, and then the stores are opening the repacks and selling the singles. So it's a tertiary level of it. A lot of people are just going to get the repacks off, however we're selling them, probably off, if you're selling them as a team, maybe you're even selling these repacks on Instagram, sell them on Twitter, selling them on Amazon and eBay and TCG Player, of course, but you're also like selling them to the mainstream on Facebook. You're trying to get your repacks out there, and you have little box that it comes in, and you seal it up, and it has the exact cards that you say it does every time, and it's a competitive deck. If you buy the tier 1, it's a competitive deck because you just broke down a whole palette. But it's only for that block. You don't have, so where the really competitive players are going to have to make a deck that has cards from every block, and that's what's more contagious. But now, do I expect them to do set tournaments? Like, for example, you only can use Crucible War, like you used to have block events in Magic. And yeah, I think that's what it's going to come down to, and that's what I like about the way the company looks, is because they're not trying to, like, each product really does seem like it could stand alone so far. You would want to build a deck with just the cards in the Crucible box and play other decks just Crucible, because then you wouldn't have to worry about playing against all the expensive cards in the past, and you could kind of get your start that way. But now we're talking like this is what's really going to be popular is the sealed events, the limited events. So it's a toss-up. I believe that they're really going to let you use all the weapons in history. It's never going to be the set rotating out, because when I think of it more like as a World of Warcraft PvP, where it's like, what do you mean it's PvP? I don't really know if they do this in World of Warcraft PvP, like, oh, it's this season, so you can only use this set of items. They just keep evolving the items past the old items. Now, in this case, that's fine, like, but the generic items will always have a place. The TEKLO Foundry Heart is mechanologist. So now that's where we come into what is going to be how long will this card be competitive for? I think it's always going to hold value. It's always going to be something that people want. But how long is it really going to be competitive? How long is the mechanologist going to last as far as compared to the other new different classes that are going to be coming out? So if mechanologist is always good, no doubt that the TEKLO Foundry Heart is always going to be good. So, and it's about as a pro player, as a up-and-coming player, somebody who's on a budget, how much money do you have to keep your decks ready to go? And like I say, I think these big budget tournaments with big prize pools are going to force players into playing multiple different heroes, teams of 2, and picking and banning versus each other, so that there's more excitement and more variety in the matches, and you never have these mirror matches going on. Because to me, and that's what I think is great about Dota, and you eliminate the possibility of a mirror match, because nobody really wants to see the mirror match. And that's why I think StarCraft really struggles sometimes, because those mirror matches are grueling. And I love StarCraft, but those mirror matches are grueling, especially Terran versus Terran. Any of them can fall into that category, but and it's a good test of player skill. It's good to see the mirror match, but something about the way Dota pops off to me is because you never have that mirror match. So, and there's a lot of heroes in Dota. There's 10, I think, maybe more than that, maybe maybe a lot more than that. I don't know. I forget. I think it's only about 109 or 110. But I want to see Flesh and Blood creep into that arena, you know? And I think the Dota players have, out of all the esports, maybe some of the most personality. Like the international videos really will touch your heart if you watch them, you know. And the story of OG and, you know, Mr. No Tail and his best friend, what's the guy, and he jumped over to EG and betrayed him, and everybody's like, man, that was a pretty low blow to leave your friend like that. I don't even remember the guy's name who betrayed OG, and it sucks for him. It's like, hey, you guys want to go in on a lottery ticket at work today? No, man, you always lose. Like, I'll go in next week. Oh, we all won $10 million. You should have went in. It just felt like that, you know, and that's why I think Dota 2 is cool. And like, if we want to get onto that level, and that's what the other big three, Magic, invented that, you know, with the Pro Tour and making their players into a little bit of celebrities, and you had the pro player cards, remember those? It have a little picture of the pro player face. It would be randomly inserted into packs. Maybe like around the original Ravnica block, somewhere around there, right when I started playing. And just different times. But Flesh and Blood could really move into that territory as we move out of this 2020 and we move out of 2021 and 22, 23, and eventually things go back to normal. That's what I think is that we could be on that level. So we're moving on. Here we go. This note here is about accepting change. And that's something that a lot of people aren't going to want there to be a big four, especially people who have expensive collections. For example, somebody who's got a $200,000 Charizard, and they've got their Black Lotus, and they've got their Blue Eyes White Dragon, and they're thinking like, wow, what good is a fourth card game going to do for me? Why should I go get myself a cold foil Heart of Fendel and an Eye of Ophidia and an Arcanite Shard? Why do I want those? You know, these people aren't really going to be easy to get through to, but I can tell you right now that this channel, every single time, we're going to stay positive, and we're going to preach the word that you want that first edition Charizard, you want your Blue Eyes. I don't really know Yu-Gi-Oh! That well, so that's the card I would want, is a nice Gem Mint Blue Eyes first edition. And you want your Black Lotus, but you also want that Heart of Fendel, Eye of Ophidia, Arcanite Shard. The one I think is the most valuable is the Eye of Ophidia, just based on its effect alone. Obviously, getting the Opt 2 is a nice advantage, and gaining a life with Heart of Fendel is cool. There's not a lot of life gain that I see, but I don't fully understand what. Obviously, there's just not a lot of effects that you get as you pitch the card, so getting the free life is good. But that Opt 2 is insane. And the Arcanite Shard is always going to suffer because it's tied to Vizzy. And I think Vizzy's the best. I think he's going to be the top tier. He can have all three of the stones in his pocket. So I don't doubt it for a second. I know he's going to be, the way I think about it, I'm like, he's going to be first pick, first ban every single time. That's Vizzy. He's going to be kind of that king with the way that deck's going to flow with having three of those resources in there. It's going to be efficient. That's what I picture. But like I said, I've never played the game a single time. I'm only speculating on things here. And with that being said, we crossed the 30-minute mark here. I just want to tell you guys all to have a good day and everything. Yeah.